Hi folks, I'm Josh. After playing through Hyperlight Drifter and really enjoying it, I started to wonder what the full story was. It only gives you little bits at a time, which is great for building atmosphere, but as I pieced it together in my head, I started to wonder why the Drifter was fighting. Little clues added up and caused me to ask, is the Hyperlight Drifter a time traveler? So, I collected all the items and tried to figure out the game's history and to answer that question. Obviously the Drifter is ill, but from what I know, beating up monsters isn't generally a substitute for a good doctor. To understand where his illness came from and to get an insight into what motivates him, we have to look into the history of the world. Wee-oo. That's the spoiler alarm, so if you want to avoid that, put this in your watch later list and come back when you're ready. So, it's possible he's looking for a cure. It's made very clear in the opening cinematic that there's more to it than meets the eye. So how did he get ill in the first place? The opening cinematic shows that the races of the world came together to create a power source. Something went wrong and the apocalyptic explosion destroyed the world. The Hyperlight Drifters fought the Titans, defeated them. However, a black corruption takes over the power source. And this is the important bit. This black stuff seems to be related to the Drifter's illness. Obviously, because the end boss is a big glob of it, it's the story's villain. First time playing through though, it didn't seem that connected to the rest of the plot, but if I had paid more attention, I would have realised that the black goop is everywhere in the game. We can learn more about how it came to be by looking at the cinematics and the monoliths that are hidden away around the world. Collecting them and translating the language gives you information on the local area. A bonus and unusual place you can find extra hints about the roles of the characters are the Steam trading cards. They're all named after tarot cards. The symbolic meaning of them also seems to support what we've seen from the monoliths. Disclaimer, tarot card meanings are super vague and can vary a ton, so I'm just gonna go with what fits into the narrative best. Kinda like anyone that uses tarot cards to tell the future, really. Combining these sources with environmental clues, we can get a clearer idea of what happened in each place. The king in the west freezes his people instead of saving them from the Titans. The monoliths read, "Precious moments captured by crystal, a stillness of mind, skill honed sharp, midnight looming, trapped by desperation to remain." The western boss is called Hangman, and symbolises a traitor. As the king of the bear people, I speculate he uses the crystals to preserve his people instead of fighting. Possibly even joining the Titans, because there are soldiers frozen all over the west and his samurai work with the little green people to attack you. Only one bear person was able to kill the Titan with a crystal to the head. The pious and peaceful dog people of the east are enslaved, and the monuments are left to decay by the froggies. The monoliths read, "An isolated people, fearful and obsessed, offering a great cleansing flame, a poisoned, maddened bone land, fragile balance, scorched, undone." The frog boss doesn't get his own card, so haha. When you arrive in the east, you're attacked by frog people, and you can see them moving about canisters of pink stuffs that I assume they use to power their cleansing flames. The east is beautiful, but it's also covered in bones, and there are dead bodies floating in the water. It's not as pretty as it used to be, clearly. Arriving at the church, you see what happened to the dog people. At least, I think they're dogs, I could be wrong. The frogs attacked and enslaved them, and ate them, apparently. Gross. The north saw the sacrificial cult overthrow the previous religion, as we learn from a crow survivor and various scenes of dead crows in religious clothes. The cult leader clearly gave the crows you're fighting magical rift powers. The monoliths say, transcendence, faith, immortality. Rifts crafted, dangerous potential, a foundation for faith and violence, a loss of self, a narrow path travelled. The crow boss's Steam card is the Hierophant. In tarot, it represents a bridge between the divine and the earth, like the Pope. Considering that when you kill him, you can see a dark figure inside his cloak die, the divine here is probably judgment, like the Pope. In the south, the story here is less easy to decipher. The monoliths read, overwhelming wonders and power, desperate hunger for progress, distortion of life, devouring body, the first victim of the invasion. Creatures in jars, a robot production line, and what looks like a Titan autopsy all point to this underground lab being the origin of the creatures that plague the world. According to the lizard at the campfire, they went searching in the underground, and the creatures that were being made there attacked them. Perhaps it was the lizards who made them, and maybe the Titans too, or merely awoke them. Either way, the lizard people abandoned faith in search for technological progress and were destroyed because of it. The other Steam cards are less useful for the world's history, but tell us a little about other mysteries. Judgment represents the Day of Reckoning, which is both symbolic of it being the final boss, and that it has brought ruin to the world. The door the dog comes from is called the Tower, and it symbolises sudden, disruptive, and potentially destructive change. This could be because, at the destruction of a dog, you defeat Judgment and destroy the cell, which seems to be the power source for most of the stuff in the world. Just saying, seems a bit of a dick move. Once you've got all of the monoliths, an extra bit of info becomes available from the library just before the Crowboss. Shouts, Crowboss, I hate you. Harnessing a great wellspring, a perfect immortal cell was crafted to be imbued within all sentient life. A noble goal, though such power terrified others and brought ruin as its purpose was transmogrified. The abhorrent cell still festers deep in the chambers of this world. This is the immortal cell that we destroy at the end of the game. So what does this have to do with the time-traveling drifter? Just wait, I'm getting to that. Everything went to crap, but how did that cause evil stuff? There is evidence that previous to these events, the four races believed in a singular religion, which gave them access to a power source. In each area, a loss of faith had occurred. Therefore, the goodness of the power source could not be maintained, and what's the opposite of good? That's right, Batman v Superman. I mean evil. The power source got turned evil. So why is the Drifter ill? Because as the final secret text says, the power of the cell was imbued in sentient life. It's on every corpse you get a key from, and you can see other characters coughing too. The black vapour is the corruption spread to the immortal cell, and thus to them. This led me to one final thought. If Judgment caused a huge explosion, surely everything would be destroyed. Even though you see a lot of destruction as you travel through the world, it looks mostly to be from the battle against the Titans. The Drifter also seems to be willing to make the ultimate sacrifice to defeat Judgment. Maybe for a cure. But because the dog, who represents the source of the power cell, returns through the door and the city lights go dark, the Drifter knew what he was destroying, and that it would have these devastating results. This wasn't something he was going to come back from. My guess is that the opening cinematics are part history and part future. The dog is showing the Drifter the future if he fails. During the ending scene, there are no more bodies or rivers of blood as this total destruction has been averted. The Drifter teleports out of a similar scene in the beginning cinematic, and every single time you die, the screen is fuzzy and the Drifter gets up as if something nasty has knocked him down. Maybe he turns back time a little if he dies. The story of Hyperlight Drifter is intentionally vague to create a magical atmosphere and make you think about the areas you fight through. But even so, I love its themes of faith, sacrifice, hearts, the whole lot. There are lots of mysterious pieces to put together your own theories with, so I'd love to hear them down in the comments. Thank you for watching, subscribe and like this video for more, and if you want to support my channel, I have a Patreon page. But until next time, mustache!